Now let's say a person's smoking cigarettes. It's well known that those 4,000 chemicals in each cigarette have the ability to weaken and damage the arterial wall. Something else that can weaken and damage the arterial wall is mercury. And there are 3 places we can be subjected to mercury today. One is fish, the other is mercury fillings in the mouth, and the other is the flu vaccine, because the flu vaccine contains mercury. And mercury can damage the arterial wall. What can also damage the arterial wall is yeast or mold that's in the blood. That can damage it. And if a person's on a high sugar, high wheat diet, alcohol, that just feeds the yeast, poking more holes. Who's going to plug up the holes, students? The repairer and the rebuilder. And so the repairer and the rebuilder comes along and plugs up the hole to keep you and I alive. What's supposed to happen is the person's supposed to eat nourishing food, lots of minerals, greens, plant proteins and healthy fats, and those nutrients will help to rebuild those holes. And at the same time, the person's supposed to get out of the mouldy house. They're supposed to get the mercury fillings out and start eating lentils instead of fish, and start running up and down hills every morning and use the flu bomb instead of taking the flu vaccine, and stop smoking. And when all of the things that harm the arterial wall are stopped, then HDL comes along and carries away the excess. Can you see how these 2 cholesterols work together in maintaining our little capillaries and channels that are carrying our blood? But many people don't realize the danger of mercury. And I know some people have said, oh, I was going to have my mercury out, but my dentist said, you know, that's a waste of money. You know, there's nothing wrong with mercury. I've got mercury. Mercury's a neurotoxin. Wow. It's one of the main causes of multiple sclerosis. It kills brain cells and eats away at the myelin sheath. One man said, I've had it in my mouth for 40 years. It's done me no harm. You don't know. Those myelin sheath can be half eaten away and you hardly know it. But it gets to 2/3 eaten away, and then coordination goes. And the brain's, you can't remember anything. Oh, you've just got Alzheimer's. As you'll see when I do the lectures on Saturday on the mind, there are reasons for Alzheimer's. Newton's third law of motion states that to every action there is an equal and an opposite reaction. Things don't just happen. There's always a reason. So let's say the person doesn't know the dangers of mercury. They don't realise that the fish has mercury. They don't realise, although they should, that the cigarettes are killing them. And so the damage continues. It continues. It continues. And what's happening inside the artery? The build-up's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. When I was a nurse and I worked in the operating theatre, and I assisted for a bypass operation, and the artery that we cut out of the heart and replaced with an artery from the leg, and by the way, how long's that one going to last? If you don't turn the tap off, you're still going to be mopping up in the other corner. And when he was all stitched up, the surgeon got the artery and got tweezers and started to pull this white gristle out. We say, what is that? Cholesterol, yeah? And so now we say cholesterol causes heart disease. That's like saying the fire trucks are causing the fire. Well, they must cause the fire. They're always there. Can you see that? A friend of mine, his name's Dr. David Harris. He's a chiropractor. He's a cyclist. He's 58. He goes overseas twice a year, does 200k rides. He's a vegetarian. His doctor was suspicious of the breathlessness he was getting at times, so he did a test on his heart, 90% occlusion of his arteries. He was rushed in for a bypass. He rang me up and he said, Barb, it's genetics. Genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. I said, David, go to my YouTube and watch my lecture on the liver where I talk about cholesterol. And he rang me up a week later. He said, Barbara, in 2004, I was trying to put on muscle and I was eating swordfish 3 times a day. What's swordfish got in it? Pregnant women are told, don't eat swordfish because it's the fish that is the highest in mercury. You see, mercury is accumulative. It's bioaccumulative. You know what that means? The bigger the fish, the more the accumulation of mercury. And the longer it's in your mercury fillings in your mouth, the more it is accumulating in your tissues. Can you see what happened with David? The mercury, in fact, after 1 year of this diet, he got mercury poisoning. What's happening in his arteries? Holes, 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 holes. And so the liver's getting yelled at, quick, more cholesterol, more cholesterol, more cholesterol. Can you see that? To plug up the holes to keep David alive. Aha. That's why we all should be private investigators investigating why these things are so. Cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease. It's damage to the arterial wall. But it's much easier to blame the cholesterol than the cigarettes or the mercury in the fish or in my mouth. And the fisheries department go to great lengths to protect the public from realising how much mercury is in their fish. And the dentists go to great lengths to make people think there's nothing wrong with the mercury. About 50% of dentists are still using mercury. It doesn't even look nice. Hey, the white fillings look much nicer. But the new dentists are taught that mercuries are poisoning. So hopefully in another 20 years, all dentists will be using the white fillings. And most people don't realise that in the flu vaccine there is mercury. It's called thimerosal. Have a look. In fact, if they're pushing it on, you say, sorry, I'm allergic to mercury. Are you? Every human being on the planet is. And the Hep B vaccine that babies are given at birth has mercury in it. Check it out. Check it out. Find out. You can find out. I mean, it's called thimerosal. That's what the mercury's called in the vaccine. It was banned in childhood vaccinations in 1998. So it's not in the childhood vaccinations, but it's in that new one. We need to know where these mercury is being hidden because it's a neurotoxin. There is no safe dose of it. That's a good one-liner for your dentist. There is no safe dose of mercury. It's a neurotoxin. Now, when those brain cells are dead, sorry, gone. They do not rebuild. So we've got to look after the brain cells that we have. Now, if you're questioning what I'm saying, I'm glad you question what I say because we need proof of this. So I'm going to write down a few doctors who have written books on the subject. Dr. Dwight Lundell is a cardiovascular surgeon. He's performed 10,000 bypasses and he's written a book called The Cholesterol Lie. Dr. Malcolm Kendrick, I'll write that one down for you too. He's a British cardiologist. And this is a statement that he says in his book, and his book's called The Great Cholesterol Con. Dr. Malcolm Kendrick. He says, for the first time, normal levels of a normal vital body substance is being called a disease. For the first time, normal levels. What's a normal level of cholesterol? 7. What are we told now? What are we told 7 is? Too high. Normal levels of a normal vital body substance is being called a disease. For the first time. A normal vital body substance. You cannot get your vitamin D unless you've got cholesterol. Your sex hormones cannot be made unless you've got enough cholesterol. Your adrenal hormones, your fight and flight hormones are made from cholesterol. For the first time, normal levels of a normal vital body substance is being called a disease. The people that have always had problem with this saturated fat and cholesterol cause heart disease are the heart surgeons. They're the ones that have always been skeptical.